One of the first baits that I went to use was the scented pogey, which basically I guess is just like your paddle tail soft bait, and everything I used except for the scented jerk shad Houdini color was their pearl white or their glow in the case of the shrimp, which is normally what I use in the waters where I fish. They're fairly clear water normally, and you know, like to keep that visibility. Some people prefer to use more natural color when it's clear. I find that using this super white bait actually produces hits, so I just keep on doing it. I might be doing it wrong, I don't know. Leave a comment if you know better than me, but it's what produces for me. These things actually did fairly well. A lot of strikes. Didn't set the hook on anything, but like I said, I think where I was fishing, it was mainly smaller fish, as you'll see in the video. I tried the scented jerk shad Houdini color, which was really cool. They performed nice. They got a real good action under the water. I didn't do a video of that. I will next time I go out, just to show you the action of these things. And that was really cool. These things, again, strikes. Didn't set any hooks, but a lot of hits, a lot of strikes, and nibbles. So I know that the scent is there, which was one of the things I was wondering about. Again, a pearl jerk shad, and I think there's one of the pogies in there. I kind of threw it in the wrong bag, but I used these also. Same results. And then of course our shrimp, which was the main bait that I use, was the Gulp 3 and 4 inch white shrimp. I tell you, you bring a bottle of Procure out there with you, and just keep reapplying the Procure every once in a while. They've actually got these ribs, I'll show you later. They've got these ribs that run down the middle. That's real good for just put your little Procure in there and keep fishing. Tons and tons of hits and nibbles. I actually caught a couple with these shrimp, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. Now I'm going to show you how I rig it on the jig head, and then we'll move on from there. Alright, so I'll show you what I do here. Open up the box here, and I've got an assortment of jig heads that I use, different colors, different weights, size hooks, different styles actually. We'll go over these in a different video. These are just Betts side, more for flounder. They do a really good job. Use these actually a little bit with these shrimp, but I'll show you the standard jig head that I'd say probably 90% of the people out there are going to use. Take this guy right here. I believe this is a 1/2 ounce jig head. I prefer the ones that have the little hooks above and below, or at least just above where the actual jig head stops, where the bait would stop on it. So that way it gives it something to bite onto. So that way every time a fish hits it, it's not pulling it down to the end of your hook and you're trying to fish with a wobbly bait. You know, it keeps it set up towards the top a little bit better. So I'll take one out. It's the one I was using mainly, and I only used one shrimp the other day. I've never had to take it off. All the legs are still there, which is, well, actually one leg is gone. But for fishing all day with it, and like I said, lots and lots of strikes and probably a bunch of pinfish and stuff hitting it. Surprised. A gulp bait would have been tore to pieces, and this thing's still fairly all there. So again, super impressed with that. What I like to do is try to make sure that the jig head here and the bait kind of visualize how it's going to look when it's done. So I see that, the hook is probably going to penetrate right here behind what would be the front part of the shrimp. So whenever I go to put this hook in there right into the mouth, or the very front of, the front of the bait here, just keeping it as straight as possible down there, all the way through till we get to right where it looked like it should come through. and then push it all the way up onto the jig head. There you go. And that's just a little short. Could redo it actually. You see how it seems like the hook wants to go back just a little further. It's making the bait look a little funny. And also, if you see on the top here, I've gone a little crooked on the head. Doesn't really make that much of a difference, I don't think, but for all intents and purposes we'll redo it just to show you again. I was surprised how hard it was to take these Z-Man baits off of the jig heads where the barb is, to keep the fish from getting off the hook. It actually keeps these baits from getting off too. They're so tough that just that little bit of the bait that gets, the lure that gets stuck in there, actually makes it sort of difficult to get the hook out sometimes. So again, we'll go back. We'll go just a little further this time. Make sure we get the head of that shrimp all the way over those little set barbs there. I'm not sure what they're called, but anyway, this one's better. See, just a little bit further back, it makes all the difference in the world as far as how that bait sits. And now, if a shrimp, or a flounder or redfish comes, they don't have to, they're going to pretty much, if they're a sizable fish, they're going to pretty much inhale this whole thing anyway. But they can pull these things, man. I mean, these things stretch a mile. You see how crazy it is. And like I said, you just keep putting that Procure right there. There's this little slot right there in the bottom. The jerk shads actually have a top and bottom, and I'm thinking that that's actually for to make sure that your hook is coming out straight on the bottom if you're going to rig it that way. This is how I fished it, and I had, like I said, great results. Alright, so that's it. This is the video on the Z-Man bait review. Finally got around to one. I hope I answered your questions if you had any. If you were wondering how you go about rigging up a soft plastic to a jig head, I hope that helps for you a little bit, help answer those questions. And just get out there and go fishing. I haven't had a chance to go out as much as I'd like to this year so far, but it's looking like we'll be able to make a few more trips here shortly. So we'll make some more videos and get more of these baits in the water and catch more fish. Alright, tight lines.